Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 7 top stacks. We're going to hit as many of them as I can. That means 5. So if 5 of these stacks, if you don't like any of the stacks, here's the secret. You don't have to play them. Because in NFL DFS tournaments in week 7, you can play whoever you want. There's only 10 different games on the slate. That's 20 different quarterbacks. I'm not going to talk about every one. We're going to hit 5 that I think are either really good from a projection standpoint or really good from a tournament game theory standpoint. I have one that I think, well, 2 that I think are a little bit sneaky at this point. We're recording this on Thursday morning, and they may not be sneaky by the weekend. Also, as you can see, Antonio Brown on the cover with Tom Brady and popped up on the injury report because he missed Wednesday's practice, which I never care about veterans missing Wednesday practice, but he was also not present for Thursday's practice. So here's the big tip on Antonio Brown in your Tampa Bay stacks, right? Not to ruin the video for you guys, but if Antonio Brown is not playing on Sunday because he's out, don't include him in your Tom Brady stacks. That's the big tip for this weekend. If Antonio Brown is out, don't play him. Thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, leave me a reply down below. Give your mom a phone call, let her know how you're doing, ask her how her day is, and find somebody who you haven't talked to in a while, one of your friends, one of your college buddies or something. Shoot them a text, tell them, hey buddy, love you, you're awesome. It'll make their day. That's what we're about here. So let's hit the stacks.
He's a legend.
The Smiz Gang Listener League enters its, I don't know, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's either our 6th or our 7th week on Draftkings. I don't know if we did one week 1 or if we didn't do one, whatever. We're into it. We're well into the season. You guys know how to find it. Smizzle.tv/league will take you there. There's a link going to be down below in the description. Just open that if you want. Also in the pinned comment is going to be smizzle.tv/links. That gives you links to everything, including my Best Buys column, which comes out today, including the Listener League, every one of my socials, all the stuff, all the things. Go click them. Just go right down the list. Click, subscribe, click, follow, click, follow. Do that and we'll be set. $10 entry fee, 3 max, $30,000 in the prize pool. Absolutely no rake. All the money that comes in goes back out to you, the members of the Smiz Gang, and we'll go over every single one of the top 10 players and shout them out on the recap video on Monday. So let's get to the first stack. Oh, look, it's Tom Brady. No secrets, right? We always start off with the guy that was on the cover. Tom Brady, 7,700. The Buccaneers opened at a 31 implied total this week. They now have a total of 30 expected points, 4+ touchdowns expected from this Buccaneers team, unless you think it's 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals, and in which case, whatever. They're pretty much going to be an offensive juggernaut any week that they play. Obviously, Chicago is a pretty tough defense, but like, does a tough defense matter when it comes to this Buccaneers offense? Like, Tom Brady and the toughest team that they played was the Los Angeles Rams. He still threw it 55 times that week. Only threw for 1 touchdown, but 432 yards. Definitely could sustain a pass catcher or 2 on that day. 31+ DraftKings points in that game. Multiple touchdowns in most of the games. 4+ in 3 of the 6 games so far this year. So plugging him in and taking a look at who his pass catchers are. Leonard Fournette is going to be extremely popular this week at cash games. 6,400, 20+ carries in 2 of the last 3 games. 5 targets in each of the last 3 games. Normally, I do not open up the ability for a quarterback and a running back to be in a stack together, but I'm going to allow it in specific cases this week. The Buccaneers are one of them. And we're going to go over how to build all this in the Rotogrinders lineup builder. So go give them a visit. smizzle.tv/Rotogrinders will take you there. This link's going to be down below as well, because we're going to take a look at how their lineup builder works. Mike Evans didn't get a lot of targets last week. We're going to have boomer bust whenever there's 3 guys out there. Now, Antonio Brown, as I mentioned in the open, is missing 2 practices so far. He's been the most popular target for the last 3 games with a boatload of targets over that time. Both short, intermediate, and distance targets for Antonio Brown. Now, if he's out, that's going to do 2 things. One, we also have Gronk, who's questionable. You have to monitor this situation. Unable to practice Wednesday, but literally every veteran at this point in the season is going to miss every Wednesday practice moving forward, or most of them. In his absence, O.J. Howard stepped up big time against Philadelphia in that Island game. And also Chris Godwin projects to see a massive bump in his target share as well. So going over here to the Rotogrinders lineup builder, We click on Brady. I'm going to make sure that we have 2 of these guys. I'm not going to allow Ronald Jones Jr. because he doesn't play. I'm not going to allow Gio because he's not on the field enough. I will allow Leonard Fournette, but I'm probably going to weight him down, meaning I'm going to decrease his projection in the lineup. If Rob Gronkowski is in and active, I'll include him. If he's not, I'm going to assume right now that he's not going to be in. If he's in, then make this swap in your builder. Howard, Evans, going to take him out. Going to have Antonio Brown in. Going to leave Tyler Johnson out. Here's the swap in and out. If Antonio Brown's in, then Tyler Johnson out. If Antonio Brown's out, Tyler Johnson in. I'm going to assume for now that Brown is going to be fine. You can make that change later, and then we'll move on to our next stack. I'm going to make sure 2 of those guys are in there. Patrick Mahomes, absolute stud. I don't really need to talk about all of his exploits. You know how great he is. The one great year that he had, like his first year as a starter, his second year in the league, he went from, 50 touchdowns, and then his second year he threw for like this unsustainable rate. It was like 9% of his throws went for touchdowns. We talked about how unsustainable that was, but now he's got an extra game, and he threw 50 touchdowns in that year, which was amazing. This year, he's on pace for 51 so far. Multiple touchdowns in every game this year, 3+ touchdowns in 4 of the 6 games. Big time ceiling type quarterback. We talked about 25 to 35 being a ceiling game for a quarterback. He's exceeded that in week 1 against Cleveland. But if you're scoring 28, if you're scoring 32, 27, and that's where his average is, 28.6, you can clearly sustain 2 pass catchers along with Patrick Mahomes. Coming over here to all, Tyreek Hill, questionable, won't practice Wednesday. Starting to sense a theme. We're at that point in the year where like veterans aren't going to practice on Wednesday. Travis Kelce, limited at practice on Wednesday. Starting to sense a theme. Don't practice on Wednesday. That's just kind of what happens. Hardman is the other guy that's in that. Let's head back over to Rotogrinders. Let's click on Kansas City. I am not going to include, I'm going to push this up to use 2 players. Going to X out all the running backs, including Darrell Williams, who, by the way, like 84% of snaps in his first full game without CEH. CEH topped out at 75%, I think. And you can see what he's projected to be percentage-wise in tournaments at 23.6. So versus Tyreek Hill at 14, Mecole Hardman at 13, Travis Kelce at 13. Collectively, this stack, because of how expensive it is not going to be as highly played if you play Mahomes plus Kelce plus Hill or Hardman. And Williams by himself is going to eat up a lot. So I'm going to keep this and cut this down. Not going to use Noah Gray, Blake Bell, Pringle, Robinson, Kemp, Gordon. It's essentially going to be these 3 guys that I'm going to cycle through my Patrick Mahomes stacks. My third stack, Matthew Stafford, another player that you're going to see who we're going against a heavily trafficked running back. Darrell Henderson is easily the most obvious chocolate. A, he's playing against the Lions. B, he's a 5-box running back. The 5 boxes being 20 projected touches, involvement in the passing game, inside the 5 work, which he's like top 3 in the league in terms of inside the 5 carries. He's at home and he's favored massively. Like, what are they favored by? The Rams, I've got them at like 15.5, and that may have changed. But Matthew Stafford, 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns or more in 5 of their 6 games. This offense is rolling. The Detroit Lions have allowed like the highest passer rating against. Efficiency, not volume, is what matters when it comes to quarterback scoring in fantasy. So plugging Stafford in and kind of trying to figure out where the ball is going to go. Well, we know it's going to head towards Cooper Kupp, whether Stafford looks or not. That no-look pass across his face that went for a touchdown in week 6 against the Giants. Multiple touchdowns for Kupp in 3 of the 6 games, with 7 total on the year. The touchdowns are going to regress a little bit, but maybe they just score enough touchdowns that they won't, especially with all of the volume that he's seen. He's just not getting a ton of end zone targets. It's harder to score touchdowns if you're not getting a ton of end zone targets. Plenty of guys you can stack him with. Robert Woods, Van Jefferson Jr. will give you some salary relief. You're going to have him catch a long one or sneak his way into the end zone, as well as the touchdown Higbee. The Rams would be the other team that I will allow for a single stack with Stafford and Henderson Jr. because Henderson Jr.'s volume versus his salary are so low considering the matchup where the Lions are like bottom 5 in just about every rushing metric to opposing running backs, that Henderson and Stafford and a receiver can all get there at the same time. So coming back over to Rotogrinders, we'll click on Stafford. I'll allow Henderson in those. I'm going to force 2 players with him. And again, I'll probably weight down Henderson so it's not just a single stack with Henderson. I want to play off of this projected chalk at Henderson when I'm going with Stafford stacks, because as you can see, Higbee projected at 2%. Cup projected at 18, and rightfully so. He's going to be somewhat chalky. But then looking at the other players in this stack, sub 10% on Woods, 1% or less on Van Jefferson. I think Van Jefferson's going to be higher than 1%, but probably under 5. So you're going to leverage off of this Darrell Henderson by double stacking Stafford a lot, but in smaller field tournaments, if you're playing a 100 to a 500 man tournament, going with a Rams triple of Stafford plus Henderson plus maybe Cup is going to be somewhat popular. I would try to differentiate probably at the receiver spot off of Cup if that was the route that you're going to go. My next stack, Matt Ryan. God, he looks old. He's younger than me, but he looks older than me. I have more gray hair, but like I could put some Grecian for me. Like, God, Matt, you're getting a little wrinkly, bud. It's a bit much. I love the fact that we got multiple touchdowns in the last 4 games here from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan and this offense does not have really he's got an old neck, said chat. Wow. They're throwing the ball 40 plus times a game. Volume does not equal fantasy scoring. Efficiency for quarterbacks equals fantasy scoring. Volume at wide receiver and running back or tight end, efficiency at quarterback. But when you have an efficient situation, when you have an efficient quarterback like Matt Ryan, who historically has been very efficient at quarterback, and you're getting him to throw the ball 40 plus times a game, the opportunity for a 300-yard bonus on DraftKings and or multiple touchdowns is great. He's only 5,700. What we don't have with Matt Ryan is the floor that the rushing quarterbacks offer. Guys like Jalen Hurts, guys like Lamar Jackson, even Patrick Mahomes, who's running the ball a ton this year, gives you a floor with his rushing yards. But Matt Ryan in this game against Miami, the total in this one is like 47.5, way lower team total for both teams than the Buccaneers, than the Rams, than the Chiefs. Like if we kind of come over here and look at the Vegas dashboard, right? It's like we look at these teams. Let's go by implied live. This is what the team totals are. Rams 33, Cardinals 32.5, Chiefs 31, Buccaneers 30. Right? So here's where most of the stacking is going to come into play. Even the Packers at 27.5 against Washington, a very viable stack, but I'm not talking about them in this video. So now we have a situation in this game where both teams, Atlanta and Miami, are top 10 in the league in pace. We have a very sneaky shootout in this situation, and Matt Ryan has plenty of guys that we can stack with. Ridley has seen a ton of targets, a ton, and is not busted out. Calvin Ridley might be the sneaky play of the week at 6.6K, just above that 5,000 to 6,500 range where a lot of people look. That amount of volume is tremendous. We saw Kyle Pitts finally break out with 19 targets over the last 2 weeks and a 100-yard bonus against the Jets and a touchdown while across the pond in England. So that's probably where I'm going to focus most of my play. If you want to play Cordell, what about Cordero Patterson, Al? Like, he's doing a great job. Yeah, he is doing a great job. Kudos to him. I need to see him play more of the snaps. Has scored a lot of points on touchdowns, but his target volume has been extremely solid for 4 straight weeks. So when he's out there, he gets targets, which is what we want to look for. So in my Atlanta stacks or in my bringbacks, if I'm going to be stacking Tua, we're going to include him, even though he's at the running back spot. We'll not be including we're not including Mike Davis. That's not going to happen. Kyle Pitts, yes. Hayden Hurst, I get it if you want to, but I'm not shooting for that. Maybe he gets a touchdown. Lee Smith, no. Zacchaeus, no. I'm sticking with these 3 guys right here. If you want to expand to one more outside receiver, fine. I think this is where the majority of the targets are going to go and the highest likelihood of touchdowns. So while Calvin Ridley does project to be pretty popular, at least based on early reports, Kyle Pitts under 5, Cordell Patterson under 5, Matt Ryan low. And looking at the other side of that, Tua Tagovailoa makes it into the top stacks of the week for the same exact reason. Very sneaky stack and allows us to get skinny in terms of how much salary we're spending. We got to kind of talk about this because Atlanta's playing at a very fast pace and Miami also playing at a fast pace as a result of the fact that they cannot run the football. That offensive line sucks. It's really bad. So if their offensive line is going to be that bad and not allow them to run the ball, forcing Tua to throw the ball 40 plus times a game with a very consolidated group of pass catchers. Jalen Waddle with the injuries to Fuller or why he's missing games. Fuller's out. We also have the very good possibility that Devontae Parker could miss, also limited in Wednesday's practice. They're going to evaluate as the week goes on. If he's in, love Parker. If he's out, that just brings more targets to Waddle and Gesicki, who over the last 4 weeks has had 34 targets at tight end, many of them coming in the slot. Atlanta very inefficient against slot receivers. Gesicki in the last 3 weeks is third in the league in terms of slot catches, behind only Cooper Kupp and Tyreek Hill, who have 16 and 15. Gesicki has 14 catches out of the slot. And on top of that, giving him a really high floor with those targets and slot catches where the puzzle pieces fit against Atlanta. We also have Atlanta allowing 10.7% of tight end targets to result in a touchdown. So a heightened touchdown expectancy from Mike Gesicki as well this week. So Tua actually makes it in here, and you look at the amount that you're going to spend on these Tua double stacks, and you can bring it back with Ridley, you can bring it back with Pitts, doing whatever you want on that end. There's just nobody left to throw to. I'll assume that Parker's in. We basically have these three dudes, all of them under 5,600. We also have Tua under 6K. You can pay for whatever volume you want, whether in a stack or a one-off with the rest of your lineup. If you do that, I think it's an awesome stack in a sneaky shootout situation or a bring back with a sneaky shootout situation with an awful lot of volume. So Tua stack's probably not going to be extremely popular in terms of their percentage played, but big time upside here in terms of volume, both for Tua and his very limited number of pass catchers on the other side. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.